The dwarves gathered around the massive forge and lit the flames. Lin Tian watched as the iron hammers continuously struck the glowing metal that had been heated to extreme temperatures. Standing at the forefront was the master blacksmith, Bill. Resting his hammer on his shoulder, Bill turned to Lin Tian. "Your Highness Dennis, your complexion looks much better. Are you here to inspect the progress?" "Everyone's been working with great enthusiasm." Lin Tian placed a hand over his chest and bowed slightly. "Master Bill, I am very pleased with the progress. But this time, I'd like to ask you to personally forge something for me, a special magic tool." Bill was surprised by his tone. "A special magic tool? What do you plan to use it for, Your Highness?" Lin Tian frowned, meeting Bill's gaze. "I intend to use it against the strongest being on the continent." In his mind flashed images of his future enemies, the Undying Clan, and members of the Church. Both were extremely powerful forces, never easy to handle. "Young as you are, Your Highness," Bill said gravely, "it takes courage to challenge such powers." "But—" his expression grew serious. "The strongest on this continent might not be them. Still, your thinking isn't wrong. Facing enemies of that level, a specially forged weapon is essential." He placed a hand on his chest and said confidently, "Leave it to me. When it's done, I'll ensure it's a weapon worthy of you." Lin Tian smiled faintly and closed his eyes. "Then I'll be counting on you, Master." Time passed. Lin Tian stood before a massive door, spinning a key ring in his hand with a small smile. The most important part of the plan is ready, he thought. This time, there won't be any loopholes. The next moment, he turned and left, giving an order to the system in his mind. "System, begin life simulation." The system immediately responded, initializing life simulation system. Current scenario: the Dwarf Kingdom. You have overcome countless hardships and successfully arrived in the Dwarf Kingdom. After slaying the corpse-eating demons, you've become a living legend, beloved by the Queen and admired by every woman in the kingdom. The system acknowledges the tavern incident. You were almost drained dry by crazed female dwarves due to your irresistible charm. To ensure your survival, you decided to stay in the royal palace and train in blacksmithing with Jamila. Time passes. In the first month, your magic tool production reaches an astounding 700 pieces. In the second month, the female dwarves go on strike, demanding that you share in their labor, working in the mines and drinking with them without exception. Choices: 1. Agree to their demands and share in their hardships. Score: 100. 2. Ignore them and stay safe. Score: 10. 3. Improvise freely. Score: 30. Lin Tian stared at the options, sweating nervously. If I choose 1, they'll probably drain me to death again. Definitely not. But if I choose 2, the production will stop. That's no good either. He frowned. Guess I'll just have to gamble. He tapped option 3, improvise freely. Ding! The system displayed the new storyline. To comfort the striking female dwarves, you hired guards and brought the queen with you to the mines. However, you underestimated the cunning of the dwarf women, and were nearly deceived again. That night, to avoid being drunk under the table, you consumed a massive amount of anti-intoxication potion to escape their clutches. Lin Tian frantically gulped down detox potions day after day. 3 months later, the results came in. 1,000 magic tools forged, 700 of Tier 10, 250 of Tier 11, 50 of World Tier. Summary: for the first time, you've truly experienced the terror of being too popular with women. A man must protect himself when venturing outside. Final score: 50 points, out of 100. Reward: 50 life points. Lin Tian smiled in satisfaction. Around him, the air began to twist as spatial vortexes appeared. Finally, I made it through. Finally, I can leave this damned place. 3 months later, Lin Tian emerged from a spatial rift into a new location. All around him were countless armors and weapons neatly arranged. He stood with his hands on his hips, tilting his head back with a triumphant laugh. The power of an entire nation truly is astonishing. Good thing I didn't use force to make them work. Letting the dwarves willingly put in their effort, the efficiency is beyond imagination. He strolled through the armory, examining the suits of armor crafted by the dwarves, murmuring to himself, Although there's no legendary grade artifact above the half-moon tier, producing thousands of high-level magic tools in such a short time far exceeds expectations. Just then, something caught his attention. Huh? What's this? His gaze fell upon a shelf. There, 2 rings lay neatly displayed on a tray. Looking at the faint magical glow emanating from them, Lin Tian's eyes narrowed in thought. Spatial rings. Quite the treasure. But somehow, they look more like replicas. Maybe one of the dwarven craftsmen tried to recreate the real thing. He picked one up and slipped it onto his finger. Well, let's see if it actually works. He activated the red spatial ring. In an instant, everything in the room vanished, stored neatly inside the ring's inner space. Lin Tian smiled in satisfaction. Perfect. The function works flawlessly. He thought to himself, I was still wondering how I'd smuggle these artifacts out, but this makes things much simpler. Leaving the armory, Lin Tian muttered. Time to find that old man Bill. Let's see what kind of surprise he's prepared for me. At that moment Bill, his muscular arms bulging with strength, lifted his massive hammer. His eyes gleamed intensely. Clang! The hammer struck the tip of a spear, sending a burst of dazzling golden sparks flying. Lin Tian's eyes widened. The sheer force of it radiated immense pressure. The surrounding dwarves were stunned. My God! Truly worthy of the title Master Bill. Even with an incomplete blueprint, he's managed to forge a half-moon tier magic weapon. Only one final step remains, the flame tempering, one of them whispered. Then, we'll have to use that, right? The purified blood of our dwarf race. Bill gripped the nearly finished spear and shouted, Use the blood of our kin, forge it into divine steel. With that, he plunged the spearhead into a vat of glowing liquid. The fluid bubbled violently, waves rippling out. Thunder roared overhead. A golden bolt of lightning split the sky and struck the forge. Bill raised the spear high, and an overwhelming aura burst forth. The power emanating from it was so intense that everyone instinctively shielded themselves with their arms. Even Lin Tian was no exception. He laughed, eyes bright with admiration. Incredible power. So this is the might of a half-moon, great magic weapon.